Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Good afternoon. It is almost 3 here. We got page 544. I was going to do a different one, but I guess we're going to stick with that one. Job's Reply, chapter 27, and chapter 28, The Inaccessibility of Wisdom. Well, I think I can read all of that. I feel like I have a reading voice. There's my tea. Looking for my tea. Cheers. Having some green tea. That's very good. Yes, it is the Mr. Lee's green tea. It is the Holy Bible, a New American Bible, Our Treasured Memories. Page 544. With whose help have you uttered those words, and whose is the breath that comes forth from you? The shades beneath writhe in terror, the waters and their inhabitants, naked before him, is the netherworld, unabandoned, has no covering. He stretches out the north over empty space and suspends the earth over nothing at all. He binds up the waters in his clouds, yet the cloud is not rent by their weight. He holds back the appearance of the full moon by spreading his clouds before it. He has marked out a circle on the surface of the deep, has the boundary of light and darkness. The pillars of the heavens tremble and are stunned at his thunderous rebuke. By his power he stirs up the sea, and by his might he crushes Rahab. With his angry breath he scatters the water, and he hurls the lightning against them relentlessly. His hand pierces the fugitive dragon, and from his hand it strives to flee. Lo, these are but the outlines of his ways, and how faint is the word we hear. Chapter 27, Job's Reply. I will teach you the manner of God's dealings, and the way of the Almighty I will not conceal. As God lives, who withholds my deserts? Who withholds my deserts? The Almighty, who has made bitter my soul, so long as I still have life in me, and the breath of God is in my nostrils. Deserts. My lips shall not speak falsehood, nor my tongue utter deceit. Far be it from me to account you right. Till I die, I will not renounce my innocence. My justice I maintain, and I will not relinquish it. My heart does not reproach me for any of my days. Let my enemy be as the wicked, and my adversary as the unjust. For what can the impious man expect when he is cut off, when God requires his life? Will God then attend to his cry when calamity comes upon him? Will he then delight in the Almighty and call upon him constantly? Behold, you yourselves have all seen it. Why then do you spend yourselves in idle worlds? This is the portion of a wicked man from God, the inheritance an oppressor receives from the Almighty. Though his children be many, the sword is their destiny. The sword is their destiny. His offspring shall not be filled with bread. His survivors, when they die, shall have no burial, and their widows shall not be mourned. Those he heap up silver like dust, and store away mounds of clothing. What he has stored the just man shall wear, and the innocent shall divide the silver. He builds his house as of cobwebs, or like a booth put up by the vine-keeper. He lies down a rich man one last time. He opens his eyes and nothing remains to him. Terrors rush upon him by day, and night the tempest carries him off. The storm wind seizes him, and he disappears. It sweeps him out of his place. Chapter 28. The Inaccessibility of Wisdom. There is indeed a mine for silver, and a place for gold which men refine. Iron is taken from the earth, and copper is melted out of stone. The earth, out of it comes forth bread, is in fiery upheaval underneath. Its stones are the source of sapphires, and there is gold in its dust. But whence can wisdom be obtained, and where is the place of understanding? Man knows nothing to equal it, nor is it to be had in the land of the living. Solid gold cannot purchase it, nor can its price be paid with silver. It cannot be bought with gold of Ophir, Ophir, with the precious onyx or the sapphire. Gold or crystal cannot equal it, nor can golden vessels reach its worth. Neither coral nor jasper should be thought of. It suppresses pearls and Arabian topaz. Whence, then, comes wisdom, and where is the place of understanding? It is hid from the eyes of any breast. From the birds of the air it is concealed. The path to it no bird of prey knows, nor has the hawk's eyes seen that path. The proud beasts have not trodden it, nor has the lion gone that way. The abyss declares, "It is not in me," and the sea says, "I have it not." Abandon and death say, "Only by rumor have we heard of it." God knows the way to it. It is he who is familiar with its place. For he beholds the ends of the earth and sees all that is under the heavens. He has set a boundary for the darkness. To the farthest confines he penetrates. He sets his hands to the flinty rock and overturns the mountains at their foundations. He splits channels in the rocks. His eyes behold all that is precious. He probes the well springs of the streams and brings hidden things to light. He has weighed out the wind and fixed the scope of the waters. When he made rules for the rain and a path for the thunderbolts, then he saw wisdom and appraised it, gave it its setting, knew it through and through. And to man he said, "Behold, the fear of the Lord is wisdom, and avoiding evil is understanding." Job's final summary of his cause, chapter 29. Job took up his theme anew and said, "Oh, that I were as in the months past, as in the days when God watched over me, while he kept his lamp shining above my head, and by his light I walked through darkness, and I was in my flourishing days, when God sheltered my tent. when the Almighty was yet with me, and my children were round about me, when my footsteps were bathed in milk, and the rock flowed with streams of oil, when I went forth to the gate of the city, and set up my seat in the square, then the young men saw me and withdrew, while the elders rose up and stood. The chief men refrained from speaking, and covered their mouths with their hands. The voice of the princes was silenced, and their tongues stuck to the roofs of their mouths. For me they listened and waited. They were silent for my counsel. Once I spoke, they said no more, but received my pronouncement drop by drop. They waited for me as for the rain. They drank in my words like the spring rains. When I smiled on them, they were reassured. Mourners took comfort from my cheerful glance. I chose out their way and presided. I took a king's place in the armed forces. Whoever heard of me blessed me. Those who saw me commend me. For I rescued the poor who cried out for help, the orphans and the unassisted. The blessing of those in extremity came upon me, and the heart of the widow I made joyful. I wore my honesty like a garment. Justice was my robe and my turban. I was eyes to the blind, and feet to the lame was I. I was a father to the needy. The rights of the stranger I studied. As I broke the jaws of the wicked man, from his teeth I forced the prey. Then I said, in my own nest I shall grow old. I shall multiply years like the phoenix. There are many in class saying they experience this every day. Many could relate. Yeah. My root is spread out to the waters. The dew rests by night on my branches. My glory is fresh with me, and my bow is renewed in my hand. By now they hold me in derision, Derision, who are younger in years than I, whose fathers I should have disdained, who rank with the dogs of my flock. Such strength as they had, to me meant naught. They were utterly destitute. In want and hunger was their lot, they who fled to the perched wastelands. They plucked saltwort and shrubs. The roots of the broom plant were their food. They were banished from among men, and an outcry like that against a thief. To dwell on the slopes of the wadis, in caves of sand and stone. Among the bushes they raised their raucous cry. Under the nettles they huddled together. Irresponsible, nameless men, they were driven out of the land. Yet now they sing of me in mockery. I am become a byword among them. They abhor me, they stand aloof from me. They do not hesitate to split in my face. Indeed, they have loosed their bonds. They lord it over me, and have thrown off restraint in my presence. To subvert my past they rise up. They build their approaches for my ruin. They destroy me. They attack with none to stay them. As though a wide breach they advance. Amid the uproar they come on in waves. Over me rolls the terror. My dignity is borne off on the wind, and my welfare vanishes like a cloud. One with great power lays hold of my clothing. By the collar of my tunic he seizes me. He has cast me into the mire. I am leveled with the dust and ashes. I cry to you, but you do not answer me. You stand off and look at me. Then you turn off and look at me. Then you turn upon me without mercy. And with your strong hand you buffet me. You raised me up and drive me before the wind. I am tossed about by the tempest. Indeed, I know you will turn me back in death to the destined place of everyone alive. You should not a hand be held out, yet should not a hand be held out to help a wretched man in his calamity? Or have I not wept for the hardship of others? Was not my soul grieved for the destitute? Yet when I looked for good, then evil came. When I expected light, then came darkness. My soul ebbs away from me. Days of affliction have overtaken me. My frame takes no rest by night. My inward parts cease and will be stilled. I go about in gloom. Without the sun, I rise up in public to voice my grief. I have become the brother of jackals, companion to the ostrich. My blackened skin falls away from me. The heat scorches my very frame. My harp is turned to mourning, and my reed pipe to sounds of weeping. Chapter 31. But what is man's lot from God above? His inheritance from the Almighty on high? It is not calamity for the unrighteous and woe for evildoers? Does he not see my ways and number all my steps? Let God weigh me in the scales of justice. Thus will he know my innocence. If I have walked in falsehood, and my foot has hastened deceit, if my steps have turned out of the way, and my heart has followed my eyes, or any stain clings to my hands, then may I sow, but another eat of it, or may my planting be rooted up. If my land has cried out against me, till its very furrows complained, if I have eaten its produce without payment, and grieved the hearts of its tenants, then let the thistles grow instead of wheat, and noxious weeds instead of barley. I have made an argument with my eyes, and entertained any thoughts against a maiden. If my heart has been enticed towards a woman, and I have lain in wait or at my neighbor's door, then may my wife grind for another, and may others cohabit with her, for that would be heinous, a crime to be condemned, a fire that should burn down to the abyss till it consumed all my possessions to the roots. You feel like you experience that every day too? I'm sure many could relate. Touche. Yeah, it is nice. It's a little after 3 here, so a few hours of daylight. Had I refused justice to my man servant, or to my mind, when they had a claim against me. What then should I do when God rose up? What could I answer when he demanded an account? Did not he who made me in the womb make him? Did not the same one fashion us before our birth? If I have denied anything to the poor, or allowed the eyes of the widow to languish while I ate my portion alone, will no share in it for the fatherless. Though, like a father, God has reached me from my youth, guiding me even from my mother's womb. If I have seen a wanderer without clothing, or a poor man without covering, whose limbs have not blessed me, and warned me with the fleece of my sheep, if I have raised my hand against the innocent because I saw that I had supporters at the gate, then may my arm fall from the shoulder, my forearm be broken at the elbow, for the dread of God will be upon me, and his majesty will overpower me. Had I put my trust in gold, or called upon fine gold, my security, or had I rejoiced that my wealth was great, or that my hand had acquired abundance? Had I looked upon the sun as it shone, or the moon in the splendor of its progress, and had my heart been secretly enticed to waft them a kiss with my hand, this too would be a crime for condemnation, for I should have denied God above. Had I rejoiced at the destruction of my enemy, or exulted when evil fell upon him, even though I had not suffered my mouth to sin, by uttering a curse against his life, had not the men of my tent exclaimed, "Who has not been fed with his meat?" Because no stranger lodged in the street, but I opened my door to wayfarers. Had I, out of human weakness, hidden my sins, and buried my guilt in my bosom, because I feared the noisy multitude and the scorn of the tribes terrified me, then I should have remained silent and not come out of doors. Oh, that I had one to hear my case, and that my accuser would write out his indictment. Surely I should wear it on my shoulder, or put it on me like a diadem. Of all my steps I should give him an account. Like a prince, I should present myself before him,